By now, I'm certain you've heard the news, but The Acolyte has been canceled. And as someone who's not a Star Wars fan at all, I necessarily don't care as much as anyone else. However, I did see this video on Twitter of a compilation of a bunch of people reacting to it, and it's exactly what you think it would be.
So The Acolyte was canceled.
It's definitely because incels didn't like two people of color holding hands.
From what I've been able to piece together, the issue was not that it's, I guess, two main characters who are POCs. It's a bunch of characters whose story doesn't really make sense in the canonicity of the history of Star Wars.
We're not gonna forget that.
They've hit the second tower.
It was set up to fail from the beginning. When The Acolyte was first announced as a female-run show with Leslie Headland at the helm, starring a black femme and a diverse cast of characters unlike we had seen in a Star Wars project before, the review bombers took to the internet before the show even had a chance to air.
That is correct. A lot of people didn't have too much hope for this Star Wars show because of repeated examples of them being disappointed that their funny little swords were not going to be as prominent as they want them to be, and their nice little dialogue about world building, and that scrawny little short guy who's all old or somehow turned into a baby. You can clearly tell that I'm a fan of Star Wars, and seeing that for the first time and thinking to yourself this is going to be terrible is kind of a bad way to look at entertainment. But when you got a repeated history of bad entertainment coming your way, you kind of just expect it. And then if you're surprised, oh, well, great, it's good. But then when you're right, they get even more blovious about it and letting you know that, yeah, this was kind of dog shit.
I understand that it got review bombed to an insane degree by so many people who were hating on it just because of what seemed like internal prejudice.
Now, cards on the table, not a Star Wars fan, so somebody will fill in the blank for me. It is my understanding that a lot of that core fan base did not like it because it disastrously destroys a lot of canon regarding various points in Star Wars history over time via all of these movies and TV shows, which is a valid reason to not really like the show.
Amanda Stenberg, who not only gave a phenomenal performance as Osha, but also as her twin sister May, had no choice but to stick up for themselves and defend herself against the vitriol and bigotry that she was receiving because Lucasfilm did not protect her.
Before I say anything, let's play a game. Imagine a ball is in your hand, and that ball is full of nothing but hateful individuals who hate nothing, who hate on people, and who hate on everything that they hold dear, and a few of them are indeed racist. You take that ball and you throw it to the side. And that is all of the stupid people who are going above and beyond past actual criticism to actually be bigoted individuals. Because unfortunately, my brain works in full capacity. And no, I don't think every fan who is critical of this show is a racist. I do believe there are people out there who went past actual criticism and actually decided to be a dick about it. Having said that, making a cringy song and dance to fight back against them is the dumbest thing you could possibly do, especially with the karma coming back that your show is canceled. So now they're going to feel like they've won. On top of that, what is Lucasfilm or Disney supposed to do with a bunch of people saying this? They can't show up to their houses. They can't knock on their doors. They can't beat them to death. The best thing to do, which is something a lot of people seemingly pretend to do when it comes to being on the internet, protect your peace, block them, ignore them, mute them, report them if you deem it necessary, depending on the circumstance of the message. It is not something where an entire company is supposed to rain down upon everybody. What do you want them to do? Restrict them from being on Disney Plus?
What the fuck is this? What?
The supposed Star Wars fans were divided, and by that I mean incels of the internet and of Twitter.
Managed to pull off enemies to lovers so well.
Lucasfilm didn't do anything to protect the cast and the crew of The Acolyte.
Again, what are Lucasfilm supposed to do to protect a cast of actors and writers and other people who are working on this show from people who are just whining and crying over the phone? There's nothing they could do. Like, you're not stealing their IP to post it for everybody to see, because I feel like that might get you in more trouble than you intended. And honestly, there's nothing you could do.
Why can't the girls have fun things for the girlies?
I'm going to say this now and also say it later in this video. You can absolutely make shows and pieces of entertainment for the, and I quote, girlies, but my hope is that when people make those shows and those pieces of entertainment, they actually go out, the girlies I'm saying, actually go out and watch it.
But it just shows how fragile you guys are to storytelling.
And it was for the girls on board.
Leslie Headland was so dedicated as a fan of Star Wars.
So when Mother Anicia says this quote, and the whole show is literally about people of color.
Ask me what I'm about to do. I'm about to cry. Thank you for asking.
I don't care about what the incel said.
You guys bullied Amanda Stenberg so bad.
The Acolyte, it was kind of to be expected considering how it is set in the universe that has, if not one of the, then the most toxic fan base like ever.
To receive this news, I
am mourning the fact that we're not getting any more Khmer edits because we're not gonna get any more source material.
What do you mean? It wasn't bringing in the view.
The viewership was not bad.
The Acolyte charted at number 6 in its second week and fell off the Nielsen Streaming Originals chart for the following week, failing to return until it re-entered at number 10 after it logged in 335 million minutes viewed for its finale, which Deadline reported may be the lowest viewership for a Star Wars finale. Now, while it did reach 11.1 million views and was touted as the best series opening of 2024, despite this strong initial showing, The Acolyte had a steep drop-off when its third episode premiered the following week, with viewership for the first 2 days decreasing 22%. The fourth episode dropped even farther, with a 9% decrease in views from episode 3.
The precedent this is setting is very scary and very concerning. What Lucasfilm is doing with this decision is allowing the bigots to win, allowing the bigots to run with this and decide, even if that's not the original intention of canceling the show, that they have won, that they are correct, that Star Wars needs to be white and male and it can't be anything else.
Forbes wrote this up that I found interesting. But the show itself was not a hit largely because it was poorly written, riddled with plot holes, and had very uneven acting from its various leads, and looked cheap despite its enormous cost. And while some outlets want to paint the cancellation as a win for toxic dude bros in the fandom as if no woman could possibly have disliked The Acolyte, and others are saying that its failure will cause Disney to try avoiding new things, I think the real culprit is twofold. The show was far too expensive and did not draw big enough numbers to justify the cost, and the show was far too expensive and did not receive enough critical acclaim and widespread fan support. And what's funny about that is that if you heard this news and you reacted very strongly about it, you would have seen people start up a petition to renew The Acolyte. And to say that the goal is 35,000, they got 30,000 signatures, and you know, that's pretty good, with various degrees of videos giving us the information we need as to fans being supporters of this.
The Acolyte was probably canceled due to low viewership, which is reasonable. It's a reasonable enough reason to cancel a show. I would ask the powers that be to consider that it had poor viewership because it was hate campaigned and review bombed before it even came out. Sticking with it might be an opportunity that is being passed up.
I just thought about this as I'm editing this video. You're going to sit there and many others are going to say that this show was treated unfairly before episode 1 even dropped. Okay, so you all know that. So how come you couldn't keep spreading the message of give a show the chance, give the show the opportunity to entrance you with all of its good action scenes and its story? Why was it you were so focused on the people hating on it when you could have been out there promoting it more instead of engaging in all of this, what some people would call pointless babble and bait in order to distract from what would be deemed good entertainment? Because at the end of the day, it's all subjective. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few of you watching this right now who hate The Acolyte, and I'm pretty sure there's some of you that like The Acolyte. It's all based on what you view as good entertainment and bad entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when we sit here and play this funny little game of, oh, this show was doomed to fail because of all the mean fans, how come all you positive motherfuckers didn't galvanize more people to get people to pay for a Disney Plus subscription with the price hikes going up and get them to watch The Acolyte so that they could say, hey, this is kind of pretty good? Or, because in case you all forgot, it's all up to one's interpretation, The Acolyte's pretty shit.
Renew The Acolyte. Save the Acolyte.
Yes, I like the Acolyte. I love the Acolyte. I couldn't get enough of it.
Please renew the Acolyte. There were so many wonderful things about it, from characters to choreography to the storyline and a new way of looking at the Sith that we've never seen before, that I would really, really, really love to have fleshed out and eventually lead to perhaps Sidious and his journey, and Darth Plagueis, Chimere. Everyone was just so incredible.
It's really important to have diversity in many of the stories that are told these days. And just because it may be uncomfortable or new, I remember back when the prequels were first out, everybody bashed them, but now everybody loves them. It's a new generation, and allow each generation to have their Star Wars.
The Acolyte probably got canceled because of toxic people. I got called so many names because I like a TV show. And Disney is being quiet about it because they're probably listening to the toxic people that hate the show. Do better, Disney, because no one deserves to be called names.
I'm going to be brutally honest with you, champion. The best they could do, and I feel like I've said this at least twice, is put out a statement saying, stop the hate, which I feel like is something they've done before, and that didn't work. And I do find it funny, at least a little bit, that in response to Renew the Acolyte being on change.org, we also have Don't Renew the Acolyte, which is not doing so well. Please excuse the fact that I look like a 7-Eleven Mace Windu when I say this, but having 30,000 or 35,000 people sign an online petition that will have no staying power upon Disney the corporation to convince them that 30,000 people, which is not enough, by the way, actually care about the Acolyte enough for a season 2 is not really going to get them to make a season 2. That show cost them a lot of money, and the return investment, which was your eyes watching the show, wasn't enough to say, hey, let's throw more money at this for a season 2. And cards on the table, hands up, don't shoot me. I didn't watch this, not because I don't want to see persons of color, not because I hate women or males who share kisses, but because I'm not really a fan of anything that has to do with Star Wars. Never have been, never will be, with the exception of the Cartoon Network show from 2008 and anything regarding General Grievous. I am a simple man with a simple plan. I believe all of Star Wars, with the exception of what I just named, sucks. I have no real reason. I just don't like it. And there's nothing any of you nerds can do anything about it. The story of the Acolyte seems to end the same way a lot of things end nowadays via social media. A lot of people talking about it, but not a lot of people investing in it so that things could prosper and continue on. You can sit there and say that you enjoy it, you loved it, you wanted to see things expanded upon, but if you don't multiply that by at least 2 million or maybe even 40 million, you're not gonna see that continue, because the return investment, which was your eyes, was not met for them to continue it. And that's the issue of the consumer and the product they were willing to consume or not consume, and there's nothing really more to it. You can bring up other examples, and I will sit here and tell you, look at the viewership and look at the money they made or used to make this show, and you'll understand Disney's not really going for it. And no, I don't think that's the fault of the evil edgelords who are sitting typing on their computers all day, spamming re and how uncomfortable they are with it. I'm just going to say that's up to the business to decide if they want to continue wasting their money or try to course correct into something that could actually be beneficial to that Disney Plus subscription. And based on what I've seen, the Acolyte was not going to be something to drive home sales. But let me know, what did you think of the Acolyte? As somebody who's not invested in Star Wars whatsoever, gotta keep saying that because I don't really have time for all your long paragraphs about how Star Wars is the greatest thing in human history. It's the greatest story of all time. No, it's not. PBS Kids' Fetch with Rough Ruffman is better than Star Wars, and I will fight all of you to the death about that. Was the show good for you? Was the show bad for you? Let me know. If you want to go find those petitions, go sign up for them. Go let people know you're interested or not interested. And in the meantime, I'm going to go stream about a monkey and his journey to the West and how much I'm whooping ass with a stick. Whoa! 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 I reject this! Wow! Wow! Well, that was a ass whooping. Subscribe to the channel. Mwah. Goodbye.